morning.
Good morning, everybody. Let's get Brittany in there. Hey, right on. This is a black coffee. Hope all of you are having an awesome Sunday.
I'm just going to tag everybody on here.
Brittany's going to tag everyone. Just going to straighten this out here so we can get both of us on both devices here. We are in our living room today. Brittany thought it would be a good idea to be in our living room and have our wallpaper background. So if you didn't know, we have wallpaper in almost every room. That's Brittany's idea. Brittany loves wallpaper. And there's a cool store in Calgary called Walls Alive that has all this cool wallpaper. And then we have a guy come and install it for us. And it looks really cool.
Yeah,
it's really cool. So if you're wondering what's behind us, that's our wallpaper in our living room. Yeah, so this is our living room.
Wallpaper in
Yeah, we have.
office.
It's right. That's right. We have
everybody.
all sorts of different wallpaper all over the place. But yeah, welcome everyone. If you're new here, this is the Women's Fat Loss group here, the free group right here. So welcome if you're new here. Welcome, and we're excited to do these masterclasses every Sunday. What I think are going to try to do is every Sunday we've been doing the masterclasses, and we potentially may be doing one on Wednesday as well, and then doing 2 a week. Potentially sharing one here with the fat loss group and then the client group as well, and then having one where we're across both, if that makes sense. So today we are talking about the 5 biggest reasons why you're leaving progress on the table, okay? So these are 5 reasons that are extremely common. I would say they're the most common reasons that people in general leave progress on the table or struggle to either lose weight, gain muscle, whatever their goal may be, okay? Now today specifically though, we're going to be focusing mainly on fat loss, right? We're going to be focusing mainly on fat loss. But obviously there are a plethora of other fitness goals that you may be looking to achieve, but today we're going to be focusing specifically on fat loss. So all the examples I'm going to be giving and Brittany's going to be giving are going to be around fat loss specifically. So just a heads up on that.
That's the biggest, obviously.
That's the most common goal, right? That's the most common goal that we deal with, and that's the most common goal in general with fitness journeys, right? That we've seen over the last half decade and beyond, okay? So with that being said, we'll start let Brittany sort of start. Brittany always has the notes ready, and then
notes here.
Yeah, that's right.
So first is just not tracking accurately. So let's just bring it back. So what is food tracking? So when I say food tracking, I mean you've downloaded MyFitnessPal or equivalent. There's so many different tracking apps nowadays.
Macro Factor or any of these apps.
We're like OG to the fitness space. So I've always used MyFitnessPal because that was the very first tracking app, probably, right?
MyFitnessPal. I've been using MyFitnessPal since I was in high school.
Yeah.
So that was. I'm trying to think how long I've been using I must have been using MyFitnessPal for about 13, 14 years now, I think. And when I signed up for the first time, all the premium features that cost money were included back then.
We've been using it for so long that when they made the switch for MyFitnessPal to be a paid service, we still have all the premium features for free.
Because we had signed up so long ago, right? And they didn't force everybody, I guess, to do that.
So I think people with old accounts just got all the premium features for free. But anyways, that's what I'm talking about, is not tracking your food accurately. And so if you're new to tracking your food, I always say to clients, tracking your food is hard. It's actually hard. I remember when I first got into tracking and you showed me tracking initially, I remember being like, wow, I will never understand this. This is very, very, very tough. And now, obviously, for me now, it's super easy. I can do it with my eyes closed kind of thing. But it takes time and practice just like anything else, right?
So what Brittany's saying is with food tracking, so me and Brittany have been together for 11 years. When we first met, I was already this massive gym junkie, huge fitness addict, whatever. And I taught her how to track her food about 10 years ago, I think, roughly about 10 years ago. And Brittany's right. It is hard. It is difficult to track your food. It's a tedious task. And to be honest, nobody wants to do it. But here's the thing, okay? And this is why we're going to talk today about why tracking is critical. And it's the number one reason. That's why it's the first reason we're talking about today. It is absolutely critical to make sure you are tracking your meals. Because if you're not, I will promise you, the odds of you, remember we're talking about fat loss today, the odds of you getting to your fat loss goals without tracking is so slim. So slim. Because the only other ways to lose fat without tracking come down to portion control. So a fist size of protein, a fist size of potatoes or something like that, which is so ridiculous in my opinion. And then on top of that, you know, other fat loss methods that don't revolve around tracking, like fasting for excessive amount of time, crash dieting, so barely eating. There was one diet I saw once where it was just like you only eat protein, so you're only eating chicken and beef, like essentially like carnivore, but any protein goes, and you know there's no way you could overeat protein to be in a surplus, so you eat all this protein every day and you're just gonna lose a bunch of weight. But guess what? Every single time I have ever ran into or worked with someone who has lost a bunch of weight in their life without tracking, they've gained it all back every single time, because they don't understand how critical tracking is to not only getting to your fat loss goals, but understanding your fat loss goals, and understanding what calories are, and understanding how your body responds to certain foods. Like, tracking is the pinnacle. It is the absolute pinnacle of fat loss. Like, you must learn how to do it. And now I will kind of go off on a little bit of a tangent. I'm much more of a meal plan guy. So if you're my client, obviously, you know I love my meal plans. I'm a meal plan guy. I love, you know, rigidity. I love, you know, repetition, you know, revolving most of my days around the same foods. That's how I operate. Brittany is much more of like a macro person. She likes to have a variety. She likes to cook different meals. Nonetheless, both of us will hit our fat loss goals every time because we're tracking. Okay. So even if I'm eating the same foods every single day, like even if my fridge is prepped right now with all the meals that I'm going to be eating today, tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever, right? I'll eat the meal and I'll put it in my app. Like, I'll still do that to this day, right? And I've been involved in fitness for 15 years. And that is the number one thing that is like a habit to me. It's ingrained in me, right? And so, oh, sorry, you want to go? sometimes I kind of go off. So
yeah, no, I totally agree with that all. I think where people get like they think too, like tracking involves you having a food scale and then you having a tracking app, and you weighing every single item that you are consuming, both solid food and liquid food, on that scale. So that includes oils, that includes any sauces, that includes that 50 calorie energy drink or that 20 calorie energy drink. Like, that all adds up and needs to be tracked in MyFitnessPal or a tracking app. And that's where people get it wrong. So when we have clients, and let's say they're not seeing progress as fast as we would like, or we kind of are looking at their meals and we're like, I don't know about that, we'll get them to send us photos of their meals, and right away I can see like what's on those potatoes. There's oil on those potatoes, or what's on, how did you cook that steak, or just different things like that. And I can see right away, and they'll be like, oh, well, I just used a little bit of butter, but that butter was, 150 calories worth of butter that they didn't track. And then they're actually, supposed to be at 1,600, but they're actually at 2,000 calories.
Absolutely.
So this is like the biggest issue with seeing progress versus not. And I know, especially coming into the fitness space, if you don't know, you're like, it's just a little bit of butter, it's just a little bit of oil. You can have those things, but we have to food track them. You have to weigh them out.
Yeah, I agree with Brittany. And we see it, like, even there's a guy I'm working with right now, and I've worked with him before, and he's working with me again. And I had a really good conversation with him last week about this. And just like Brittany said, he was like, well, what's wrong with a little bit of this? Or what's wrong with a little bit of that? And I'm like, man, there is calories in that. Like, everything you eat has calories in it, okay? And if you're over consuming little things like butter, oil, things that you grease a pan with, stuff like that, you could easily add up 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 extra calories per day. And if you think about like how specific your calorie target has to be to lose weight, because I'll tell you right now, whether it's me, whether it's Brittany, whether it's any of you watching today, okay, I am telling you right now, the amount of calories you have to eat to lose weight it's small. It's less than what you're used to.
Yeah.
There's a reason why losing weight is so difficult for a lot of people, because they must commit day in and day out for a long period of time to eating less food than their body typically needs in a day. Think about that for a second, which is obviously going to cause appetite spikes. It's obviously going to make you hungry, right? And so that's the key. If you're not tracking, right? If you're not literally looking at it's like a video game, really. It's like, okay, I can only eat 1,800 calories today. That is the goal. Like, we'll talk about protein in a bit here, but like, even if you didn't know how much protein, how many carbs, how much fat you were eating, even if you didn't know what macros were at all, as long as you hit that calorie target or under, you will lose weight. 100%. That's how basic it is in practice. Yeah. But if you're not tracking, you will never have a clue about where you are calorie-wise. You won't have a clue.
Again, we're talking about tracking. We're not talking about, mentally tracking, I had this much. Like, that's not really tracking, right? You miss things. We're talking about you're accurately weighing out every single meal, every single, liquid, oil, anything like that. And again, we're not saying you can't have these oils or butters. Dylan actually likes to use 5 grams of butter to butter your pan every time you eat, but he tracks it. He literally weighs out, this is 5 grams of butter.
Good morning, Kelly, by the way.
Morning, Kelly. And he tracks it. So again, it's not that you can't have these things. It's just, obviously, if you're putting a lot of oil, and that's 200 calories worth of oil, your calories are better used eating actually something that's going to keep you full as opposed to just a little bit of oil.
Yeah, that's right. And it can get really complicated. See how crazy it is with fat loss? It's like on paper, I could write in 1 or 2 sentences how to lose weight. Hit your calorie target or less. Seriously, there's many ways you can write that out, but it's so simple on paper to lose weight, but it is so difficult in practice. It is very, very, very difficult.
I want to talk about too a common thing that I see where people will be like, okay, I'm food tracking, I'm supposed to be losing weight, but then, for example, I'll look at their food tracking and it will be like Boston pizza, sandwich, and cactus cut fries, and it will be 1,200 calories in MyFitnessPal. And then they had, that morning a bagel from Tim Hortons, and then they had a piece of cake. Oh, but I'm under my calories. But that's not kind of diving into that. Then, with our clients, we'd have that conversation of okay, the macros are going to be totally off of that. You probably didn't have a lot of protein. And when you're eating out too, that's probably more calories than it's supposed to be, and just different things like that.
There's
too,
things
in terms
like
of
that.
tracking.
It can get really in depth. That's why we spent 11 minutes talking about just tracking alone.
How important it is.
This could be its own masterclass. Honestly, it is critical to understand this. One more thing, and then we can go on to the next reason, I guess, because we could do this all day. Is I have another guy I'm working with, and he always sends me pictures of he'll be at this grocery store and he'll be messaging me when he's picking his groceries up, and he'll be like, hey, what about this? And it'll be Cavendish, frozen chicken nuggets. And I'm like, man, no, don't buy that, because flip the package around and he'll do that. And I'll be like, how many nuggets in grams? How many nuggets does it say you need to hit 400 calories? He'll be like 3 or 4. And I'm like, how many do you eat? When you buy this stuff, I don't know, I could probably do 6 or 7. It's that's already, 600-700 calories of, a very, very, very processed food, by the way, which is going to harm your gut, number one. But number two, it's if you only are eating 1,800 calories a day, it's you're filling up half of your day with some processed garbage, all because you wanted to avoid making the actual food or tracking the food in general, right?
Yeah.
So you gotta be aware of we could talk about tracking for hours and hours.
Food quality and stuff like that matters for sure and stuff. So we can definitely do a different masterclass on tracking specifically, but just we wanted to note number one is food tracking, and if you're doing it inaccurately, you're not going to see those results. Right. And sorry, one more thing before I forget.
I got wrecked.
One more thing before I get. I always say to my clients and myself too, you're putting in the effort to food track anyways. Don't half-ass it. Just do it. Just take that extra minute to do it accurately, to actually weigh out the butter. Do it. Just take that extra minute, because why half-ass it and then not see results or not see better results? And you know what I mean? When you can just do it, just take the extra second to do it properly.
That's right. That's right. I agree with you.
And of course too, and if you don't understand or you're confused on something, message us, because we'll let you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you need help with tracking or if you're confused on it whatsoever, just throw us a message. Whether you're on our team or not, doesn't matter. Yeah.
Number two, not getting enough steps. So steps is so crucial. Obviously, you hear probably online lots, and even from us too, 10K steps a day. That's a pretty average, I think, amount of steps. I have lots of clients, and I had a conversation with another client about this. Come into the program, and let's say I tell them, it depends on each client, obviously, and where they're at. But let's say I program them 8 to 10K steps a day. I had a client once, and she was like, okay, so do I do that in a week? Or she was very, very confused because she was somebody who got like 1,000 steps. And so in order for her to get to that many steps, it took a while, but she's doing it now. But yes, like we need to hit, and you need to have your step goal, and you need to hit that on a daily basis, not a weekly basis, not every couple days, like every single day.
Yeah. Steps. This is almost in like order of importance too. I swear, like tracking's number one, and then steps is number two. It almost seems that way, right? Like, so
I didn't do it that way, but
it kind of wound up. Yeah, you ended up just doing it like that. Good job. Anyways, so Brittany is correct. So steps here, I'll lay it out flat. Like I told you how easy it was to lose weight on paper. If you have no idea what macros are and you just have a calorie target, like in your head, if I hit 1,800 calories a day or less, I will lose weight. You know that, and you know that if I hit 10,000 steps a day and I'll lose weight. Those two things alone, I'm not even. Everyone on the planet, everybody, no matter where they're at hormone-wise, no matter where they're at thyroid performance-wise, I am dead serious. Everyone on the planet will lose weight inevitably. That's it. Just from steps and calories alone. That's it.
You may not look
you may not look or feel the way you want to. Okay,
or
that's a whole
you may lose muscle because you're not having enough.
That's right. Exactly.
But
so
in theory,
you might not look, feel, or perform the way you want to. But if you just hit a calorie target every day, and you knew you were in a deficit on that calorie target, and you combine that with enough steps every day, enough movement, that's it.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do to lose weight. Right now, again, like, yes, there's way more to it than that. Like, there's training and there's protein, and yes, there's way more things that shape everything and create the physique we actually want. But yeah, it's critical to hit your steps in every single day. Now, for someone who's coming from a sedentary lifestyle where they're getting 1,000-2,000 steps a day, maybe they work in an office, maybe they don't, they don't have a pet, so they're not walking their dog. Maybe they don't have kids, so they're not running around with kids, right? Like they have a quite sedentary, simplistic lifestyle in terms of movement. Yeah, getting from 2,000 steps a day to 10K is a lot. It's a massive jump, and it feels like a lot too. Trust me, like if you're sitting all day and you go from sitting all day for years, where it becomes a serious habit, and you go into doing 8, 9, 10,000 steps a day, it will feel like you're running a freaking marathon. It will feel like, wow, how the hell am I supposed to get all of these steps in a day?
So we had somebody in our life who had to go off work for a year, and she was used to getting 20,000 steps per day. At her job, she was very active, and she was very active, and then she had to go from getting 20,000 steps to obviously she was more sedentary. And right away we noticed a difference, obviously, and she was like, I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, it's your step count.
Yeah, your movement is just as important.
And then she was like, it is. Like, I didn't realize how many steps I was getting at work, and then going from that to being completely sedentary makes such a huge difference. And so, obviously everybody has a different step goal. I mean, I have some clients, no problem, hit 20K steps a day. For me, that would be so hard. We would have to be walking all day because we sit down a lot and work obviously at our desks and things like that. And so for some people, hitting 10K steps is very hard, right? And so
it's really hard. It's hard for a lot of people. Yeah, but like for me and Brittany, for example, like if I were to think about an example day of me and her, like we wake up at like 5 a.m. usually around there. We might do our workout earlier in the day, but we're mostly in the office sitting down.
Yeah.
Like we're mostly on our computer all day, right? And we're mostly doing client programming, messaging clients, taking phone calls.
You think personal training, you think very active, but we have to obviously, just like anybody else who has a desk job, we have to plan when we're going to get our steps in, and we have to make sure it happens.
But if I owned an actual gym,
maybe more.
I would probably be at the gym all day, and I'd be walking around the gym all day and making sure everything's moving like it should or whatever.
Maybe more steps.
Maybe I'll be running some in-person classes or something if I ran my own gym. So it's like, you know what I mean? You got to think like your career is what we're getting at. Your career is a huge indicator of how many steps you're going to get. And all you have to do is check, right? Get an app on your phone if you don't have one. Get a watch. This is an Apple Watch. This is an Apple Watch. Like they're everywhere now. Everyone has a watch now. You don't even need. She has a $20 one off Amazon somewhere that she just got this. She just got it like
for my birthday.
Yeah. Well, thank you. But she deserves it. But anyways, what I'm saying is you can get a really cheap watch if you just want to track your steps. That's totally fine. But it is critical that you get enough steps in. So when we say enough steps, I know we're saying 10K a day. If you can't hit 10K a day, just hit 8. 8's fine. If you can't hit 8, hit 6. If you can't hit 6, hit 5.
I would
can't
say
hit 5, but 5,000 a day is, I would never ever want to go lower than that. Okay, and even 5,000 a day isn't like that much. It really is.
That would be something where I would definitely, and it's really dependent because, like for example, I have some clients who have knee issues and things like that, and so we got to be very careful. It's really dependent, but if you're fine and you don't have any injuries and things like that, I'd say a really good goal is 8 to 10K steps per day. And then anything above that is a bonus and amazing.
That's right. That's exactly what Brittany said there.
Yeah.
So.
So number 3 is cardio. And so cardio is important, I think, in terms of fat loss.
I think it's important,
and
yeah.
what Dylan and I normally do is we'll first start a client, and it really depends. Again, it's very custom dependent on where that client is and how much weight they have to lose and things like that. But we'll start with nutrition, steps, and training. And then once, I don't know why it's saying that it's connecting to my Apple. I don't know.
Oh, nice.
It keeps connecting to my
That's okay.
computer. So we'll start with training, nutrition, and steps. And then once we either hit a plateau or we want to move fat loss a little bit faster, that's when we'll start implementing cardio. And cardio is actually a great tool if used correctly. Correct.
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah. I agree with Brittany. So cardio isn't necessary for everybody. I know that sounds crazy, but it's not necessary for everybody. Like there are people out there. I've worked with guys who have lost so much weight because they get like 20, 30,000 steps at their job. Like they're like on the like rigs guys, always guys on the rigs, guys in camp, guys that are like silent, like they just like go to work and then they go to sleep and then they have just like such a rigid schedule like that. Those guys are busting ass.
And we have lots of women like that too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. It goes both ways. Like we're working with a woman we just brought on a couple weeks ago is in camp and she busts ass. She's always on. Yeah, it goes both ways.
No problem.
Yeah, it goes both ways. It's anyone that has a really rigorous position or a really strenuous position. It's not just the steps at the job, by the way, too. It's the physical labor that they're doing. So it's the picking up heavy objects all day. It's the, using pliers all day or whatever trade they're doing or whatever hard, physical labor they're doing, picking up boxes, you know what I mean? Picking up heavy objects, whatever. Like all of that is almost essentially like cardio for that person.
For clients like that, where I would say most clients, like if it was like whatever, most people are sitting at a desk all day.
Yeah.
In terms of like, lots of people don't have active jobs.
That's right.
And so that's where cardio can come in and can really help fat loss. And again, it's really person dependent. I see cardio being very beneficial for somebody wanting to lose 15 pounds. For example, it's a little bit harder for them to lose that weight because they're not maybe super overweight or they're not overweight at all, but they want to get down. So
someone who's typically smaller. So if you think like obviously the shorter someone is, right, typically the lesser weight they're going to be. And so for example, if me and Brittany are working with someone who's like 5 feet tall and they weigh 115 pounds and they want to be 105, that 10 pounds it's difficult. Yeah. It's difficult to lose that 10 pounds and the level of precision has to be there. But cardio is a great tool to help you get there. So the thing about cardio is some people love cardio. They love to run, for example. They love to row, whatever. If you love cardio as an actual like training session, implement it into your weight training. But we're not talking about that today. We're talking about cardio as a tool for fat loss and how critical it is. One of the reasons why you might be leaving progress on the table. So if you know you're getting enough steps in every single day, you're tracking them. And and here's why tracking is really important. You know that you're tracking properly, because trust me, if you're tracking properly and you're hitting your steps, I would be hard pressed that you're not losing anything. But anyways, with that being said, if you truly are tracking 100% precise and you're getting enough steps in a day and you're still not losing weight, like you're not even seeing a pound per week drop or anything sustainable, okay, then it may be time to add in some cardio, okay? And so that's what we're saying. But here's the thing, is like, you don't have to add in cardio right away. Brittany has a client who got extremely lean for a bodybuilding competition, and she really, she did cardio, but she didn't do a crazy amount of cardio.
Yes, I'm talking the leanness most.
She was so
most
shredded.
People will never.
She was the most shredded person at the show. She was so shredded.
She was the most shredded.
She was so shredded.
Shout
it was
out Mindy.
insane. Shout out Mindy.
I don't know Mindy.
Shout out Mindy. So shredded for the show. We brought her in perfectly peeled. Man, she was so shredded.
And I think she did the highest we did was 25 minutes on the stairs 5 times a week. And for if you're new and you don't new here, I guess, or you don't know about bodybuilding, 25 minutes on the stairs 5 times a week for a bodybuilding prep is like nothing.
Yeah, it's absolutely
very,
nothing.
Very low compared to it could be 3 hours a day for a bodybuilding prep. So
that's right. And so cardio is critical if your steps. So if you're eating a certain amount of food every single day and you know for a fact, that's why I say for a fact you are hitting this number, you're not screwing around, and you combine that with getting enough steps in per day, if you're still not seeing any sort of sustainable weight loss on that intake and on that level of steps, then you can add in cardio. But cardio just needs to be added in. Like, I like adding cardio in post-workout. If you're my client, I guarantee you that I have cardio plan or a program post-workout, because I do it for every single person, because it makes the most sense to train and then just simply do your cardio. I love a low intensity steady state or a LISS approach. It's super easy. That's doing like 30 minutes of a steady state approach where you're taking, you know, reasonably sized strides on the treadmill. It's not too exhausting. You could probably have a conversation with the person next to you. Maybe you're at like a 5% incline with like a 3 speed. Like, that's low intensity steady state. And so it's really, really easy for most people to do.
So that's Dylan's, and I totally agree with him as well. My approach more so is Stairmaster. I call it the fat loss machine. Like, if a client is willing to do it, I really think the stairs is a great source of cardio, and just like, yeah.
If somebody likes the stairs over the treadmill, it's also harder to do a low intensity cardio session on the stairs. The Stairmaster sort of makes it difficult to sort of do it in a really slow way. It's more so of like a high intensity interval training type approach. So a HIIT approach, if you've ever heard of HIIT cardio before, that's like, you know, HIIT cardio is like you do cardio for 10-15 minutes, but it's extremely aggressive, as opposed to like 30-40 minutes of nice and slow. So it's just more of a time saver, and it does the same job. Yeah. So with that being said, like,
one's not wrong or one's
yeah, and like it's not like, by the way, it's not like we're just talking about cardio machines here. I prefer the treadmill. She prefers the Stairmaster. Yeah. But the speed at which you do cardio, it doesn't really matter, as long as there's a certain calorie goal you're looking to burn is a good indicator, or a distance is good as well. So if you're like, I'm going to go on the treadmill and do low intensity steady state cardio, and I'm going to go, you know, till I get to 2 kilometers or something like that.
Yeah.
Or a certain amount of calories burned. Like, I burned 150 calories this session, or 200 calories this session, or something like that.
Yeah. So adding in cardio when needed with
when needed. It's not necessary though for everybody. No.
Okay, protein number 4. So
protein is absolutely stupidly critical. Stupidly critical. So everything here is critical. Okay, I would put protein above cardio in terms of like this is a random.
Yeah.
It's not like we were ranking them or anything, but protein is, so again, we're talking about fat loss. Tracking is number 1. Steps are number 2. Protein is number 3. Okay, protein is so critical, because if you are not eating enough protein, which by the way most people are not even getting close to enough protein, and I know this because when we work with someone who's relatively new or has been out of the game for a while or really never has eaten that much protein, when we give them 1 gram per pound of body weight or more, they're like, whoa, I am never ever gonna hit that amount. Like, that number is so high. And the more heavier you are, the harder it's gonna be to hit your body weight in protein. So if you have someone who's 300 pounds, they want to lose 50 pounds, let's say, to get down to 250. Obviously, getting 300 grams of protein a day or more that's such a ridiculous amount of protein.
We would never program.
We would never program that, but the person also is, I guarantee, not capable of getting to that number sustainably.
It's just ridiculous.
you would more want to like just hit like 200 grams if you could, or something like that, right? But for the average person, right, like the average person who's trying to lose like 15 to 30 pounds, so like a reasonable amount of weight, but like a crazy amount of weight, then trying to hit your body weight in protein is ideal. So this is for someone like, I don't know, who's 180, wants to get down to 150. Someone who's 210 wants to get down to 190, right? Like losing 15 to 30 pounds, not like a crazy amount of weight loss, but nonetheless, it's like getting your body weight or more in protein, if you can, is critical. And it's critical because in a deficit, when you're losing fat, when you're losing weight, you must focus on retaining as much muscle as possible. You are not going to grow any muscle in a deficit, okay? And I don't care what anyone says. The body cannot possibly grow muscle while it's losing a bunch of fat at the same time. Like, unless you're enhanced, and nobody is. Nobody's on anything. We're all natural, right, at the end of the day. So with that being said,
well, yes, all lifestyle clients are
lifestyle. Yes. I don't need to go into that either.
But if you are looking on Instagram and you're looking at competitors, there is always a chance that they're enhanced, and so that would be a completely different ballgame.
So don't worry about that. Like, if you ever see a big bodybuilder explaining how you can like build muscle while you're losing weight and things like that, it's probably not even meant for you. So don't even worry about that. What we're saying here is, if you're losing fat, if you're in a deficit, the odds of your body building muscle in that time is very, very slim to none. And the body's actually focused on retaining or keeping as much muscle as possible when it's losing fat. That's the goal. And so the only way to make that happen is by hitting our protein goal every single day, just like our step goal, just like our tracking, every single day. You do not take days off from hitting your protein. And I know this because I've hitting my protein every day since I was 15 years old. Okay, and I never miss a day. even if it's ridiculous, even if it's like midnight and I need a protein shake, I will have the protein shake.
So
it's a habit for me.
Ways to hit your protein. I will tell a story. So like even we went to an all-inclusive resort in Mexico with our friends a couple of years ago, and like Dylan and I had a tub of protein powder. This didn't mean we didn't eat or enjoy food, obviously.
We had a fun time,
but we had like protein powder there to have protein shakes because we know we're not going to hit our protein with just like the foods at the resort, right? And so we brought it and we had 2 double shakes each every single day. Maybe you had 3. And so it's just things like that. Like it's just a non-negotiable to hit our protein, even if you're off track with your meals and enjoying things and stuff.
Yeah, and like at the end of the day, like when you're traveling with family and things like that, like, yeah, just bringing protein powder with you, for example, to make hitting your protein goals so much easier is an ultimate hack. And like, people might say something to you. My family's been saying things to me for years about having protein, or but nobody even says anything anymore. It's just who I am. But when I was younger in high school, my grandma used to say like, "Oh, what's wrong with this or what's wrong with that? If I feed you this or I feed you that." So that's irrelevant here. We're just talking specifically about protein. So if you need extra protein and you're around people all the time, and you find you're not hitting your protein goal, just try bringing protein powder with you. It's super easy.
Yeah.
It's the easiest way to get extra protein in. There's no easier way.
Yes. Okay, and last point, again, this isn't in order. I feel like this is like relevant to all of the points. It's just consistency. How important is consistency? And what is consistency? What does it really look like?
Yeah, so Hey Taylor, how's it going? Consistency is... So it's like the most cliche saying in fitness now. It was never really said up until recently, and now every single coach, like all over the industry, just preaches consistency. And it's like, what does that mean? It's such a basic, vague term, right? I say it all the time, and it is vague, right? It's like, it's easier said than done, right? But yeah, the truth of the matter is all of what we talked about today, the tracking, the steps, hitting your protein, the extra cardio or the adding cardio if you need it, all of these things don't even matter if you're not consistent. If you're not doing these things day in and day out and making it a real lifestyle change, you will never get to your fat loss goals and stay there. Because here's the thing that pains me and Brittany, and we see it all the time. There are so many people who lose weight every year and then gain it back the year after. And then they lose it again, and then they gain it all back. And then they lose it again, and then they gain it all back, right? Like, it's non-stop. We see this all the time. And that's because nobody is truly, adapting that lifestyle that they're supposed to change, right? Like, that's what I'm getting at. Is like, if you're tracking, you're getting all your steps in, you're hitting your protein every single day, you're adding cardio if needed, you lose all this weight doing that, right? Hitting all of these critical non-negotiables that we discussed. And then you just decide one day, okay, I've lost 30 pounds. I'm not doing that anymore. Guess what's going to happen? You're going to gain all that weight back. It's not like a magic bullet. Nothing happened to you. You didn't get older and your metabolism slowed down. You just stopped. You just stopped doing the non-negotiables. And this is the biggest killer in the fitness industry. It's not like who's right, who's wrong, what's the best way to lose weight, what's not. It's just that people need to understand that if they actually want to lose weight and keep it off, they must become that new person that they want to be. They must actually adapt these habits and continue them for the rest of their life. Yeah, for the rest of your life. Like, you never stop doing it. You might have off days. Maybe you're in Mexico with family and you don't track that day. Whatever. But as long as it's a net positive of like 90 to 95% of the time of the rest of your life, yeah, like 30, 40, 50, 60 years it's going to take till you're old. Like, if you're not hitting these non-negotiables that we discussed earlier today, you're just not going to ever stay where you want to stay. And you will always be discouraged when you gain 20, 30 pounds back and be like, what happened? Did my metabolism slow down? I went to the doctor, I got all these tests. What's the next best peptide I can take or whatever to take because I don't know what's going on? But in reality, you just stop the non-negotiables, the most basic non-negotiables that we laid out today. That's how simple it really is. Yeah. But it's harder to do. Right, it's harder said than, or harder done than. I screwed that up completely. Is he supposed to say harder said than done? Yeah. Right. It's easier said than done. Easier said than done. Oh my goodness. you guys can all laugh at me for that massive failure. But yeah, it's easier said than done is what I meant to say. Yeah. Because if it was easy, and I say this to all of you all the time, then you would walk outside right now and everyone would be hitting their weight loss goals. It would be normal. It'd be like in school. If you're not losing, here's how you lose. It would be like the most normal, globally recognized thing, but it's not, right? Everyone struggles to do it.
And it's all, again, it comes back to being very custom and everybody's different and there's different circumstances and stuff. So if you have any questions about any of the points or you want kind of just to chat more about any of the points, just send us a message. And of course, if you're a client as well, let us know on that. So
Can we check if there's any comments? If not, no big deal.
no, there's no comments.
No comments, no worries.
Yeah.
I think we had Taylor and Kelly tune in today, so thank you so much.
If you guys have any questions, just let us know. And
Yeah,
have a
also,
great weekend.
if you watch later and you made it to the end, just comment replay down below.
Awesome.
And let us know if you guys watched it. All right, have a good one.
Have a
See
good
ya.
one, guys.
Right on.